Creative Cajun Cooking, maker of Magic Swamp Dust, presents the Outdoor Kitchen Show, where we'll head outdoors for some Louisiana food and fun. We'll show you some great recipes, meet some great people, and pass a good time in the great outdoors. So come on, and let's see what's cooking on
Outdoor Kitchen Show!
Today on the Outdoor Kitchen Show, we're pulling some holiday recipes out of our file, starting with a traditional crawfish bisque, the kind with the dark roux and the heads. Then we're going to have our most requested Jimmy Babin recipes, that's gator pickle dip, and his holiday shrimp and cornbread dressing. For all of these holiday recipes, stay tuned here to the Outdoor Kitchen Show.
Gator pickles, sweet and spicy pickles made with Magic Swamp Dust seasoning. This poor gator had to go all the way to the swamp to get these tasty morsels, but you can find them on the shelf at your local grocery or online at CreativeCajunCooking.com. Gator pickles are made right here in South Louisiana with a sweet heat and a crunch that can't be beat. Use them for anything. Chop them up in your tater salad, put them on your sandwiches or hamburgers for the bite that slips up on you. Gator pickles, get you some today.
All great spaces start with a plan. At Acadian Custom Cabinets, we offer free consultations to help customers choose from all the options, and we use state-of-the-art full-color computer renderings that enable you to visualize your project. Whether it's a kitchen, family room, or business, Acadian Custom Cabinets uses the finest hardwoods and hardware. From upscale to affordable, every piece is precision cut and assembled by experienced craftsmen. When you're ready to build or revitalize your space, call Acadian Custom Cabinets, 622-6337.
As members of a Touchstone Energy cooperative, we've all got a job to do. And the more we work together, the more we save. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy cooperative.
Get on the Bugman's plan.
Rest easy in a pest-free environment.
Call 923-BUGS.
Follow my plan. Call the Bug Man.
Follow the Bugman's plan. Call 923-BUGS.
Gorman Brothers Appliances on Airline in Prairieville. When ordinary just won't do.
Today we're doing our traditional crawfish bisque with Miss Betty Grenier and her son Kevin Boudreau.
Now what we mean by traditional is a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into a real crawfish bisque. Lots of restaurants have some that are more of a blonde bisque. This is the real dark roux Cajun crawfish bisque. Now Miss Betty, tell everybody why it's such a big ordeal to make this dish.
Okay, well, first of all, Marissa, it's really not hard to do, but it's time consuming.
Right.
And you have to put out the effort and the time to get it just right. And this recipe comes from my parents, which we're very fortunate to have the recipe in the family, and hopefully it will be handed down from generation to generation because it is a yummy dish. What we do here to yield approximately 10 pounds of crawfish meat, we need to prepare about 60 pounds of live crawfish.
Okay.
We're going to go through the process with 5 pounds.
Okay.
And with that, we're going to divide the 5 pounds, and we're going to use 3 pounds for the dressing, which is the stuffing for the heads, and we're going to use the 2 pounds in our stew.
Okay, now we've also talked about this before when we were getting all set up. You can do this without using the heads. You can make the little balls with the dressing, but really they will break up. It is a whole lot easier to go ahead and get those heads. And actually today we have meat that's actually from packs of crawfish instead of having to process the live crawfish ourselves.
Right, that's a lot quicker, and also the heads are already cleaned.
Right. Yeah, you can buy those.
Right.
Since we're down here in South Louisiana, you can go ahead and buy crawfish bisque heads.
Correct.
Because seafood places, instead of just throwing them away, hey, we like to use those too. So we can buy those already clean, they just need to be soaked, right?
Soaking keeps them from being so brittle. It makes them a little more pliable, so when you open them to put the stuffing in, they bend easier without breaking. But what we do is we soak them in a little warm water with baking soda.
Okay.
So that gives them an extra cleansing and also helps to make them pliable. We wash that water off and we drain them, and then they're ready for stuffing. The first thing to make the dressing for the heads is we grind the seasoning, which is the Cajun Trinity, of course, celery, bell pepper, and onion. And we grind, out of the 5 pounds, we're going to use 3 for the dressing, and we're going to grind all the crawfish tails.
Well, I'll tell you what, since that's kind of a long, involved step, let's me and you step out, go get a glass of wine. We'll make Kevin do the hard work.
All right, that's a good deal.
Okay, at this point is what we're going to do. We're going to start making the dressing for the heads. We have 3 pounds of crawfish. We have 1 whole onion, 2 celery stalks, and a half a bell pepper. Is what we're doing today. We're going to use a KitchenAid mixer with a grinder attachment. And when we're grinding this, we want to do it on a setting of about 2. Okay, so what we have the Trinity, which is pretty much ground to a good consistency. We're going to put this off to the side, and we're going to get ready, and we're going to start browning it.
And now my son and I are going to cook the dressing for the stuffing for the heads. We've heated the black iron pot, and we're going to start with 3/4 of a stick of butter. And once that is melted, we're going to pour in the Trinity that my son has grinded, and we're going to slightly clarify that. And while I'm doing that, he's going to mix 2 eggs with the crawfish, the 3 pounds of crawfish meat.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to ground out 3 pounds of crawfish. And again, you want to put your setting on about 2. And it is kind of messy, so you do take your time with it. Okay, now this is grinding relatively well. Is what makes this a really interesting dish for me, besides the fact that it tastes delicious, is this is handed down from 3 generations from my mom's side of the family, and it's something that I can extend to my kids and kids' kids, which, you know, to make it go on in history, which is really important to me. Okay, so what we're going to do to season our meat, now that that's good and ground, we're going to take 2 eggs. In our mixer, we're going to take about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of black pepper, and we're going to mix that to a good consistency on about number 1, because you don't want to make your meat real mushy.
And now we're cooking the stuffing for the heads, and what we've done here is clarified the seasoning in real butter. And Kevin is going to bring us the mixture that he's done with the meat, which includes 3 pounds of crawfish meat, 2 eggs, and salt and pepper. Right, Kevin?
And Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce. And if you like a little picante to it, you can add a little Tabasco or Louisiana hot sauce. So Kevin, if you'll pour that in here,
okay.
We're going to cook
May I
this
borrow the
together.
spoon?
Now, Miss Betty, how long does this need to cook?
It doesn't have to cook very long, because once the heads are stuffed, we're going to bake them for 20 minutes, and then we're also going to cook them in the crawfish stew.
Now, Miss Betty, how did you learn to make this?
Well, I learned from my mom and dad. My dad was in the seafood business all his life. And at one point in my life, he asked me to make it to sell. And he would do it at his home, and I would do it at my home. And I would do it in 10-gallon pots, which was a tremendous amount. I would do 2 big 10-gallon pots, which made, I can't remember how many quarts of crawfish bisque. I would pack it, and he would sell it. And that's how I learned to make it. And this is the recipe that we're using here today.
Well, you're not making that to sell anymore. You're just doing this as a hobby. You're working
Right.
with Rick Gautreaux and Associates right now, right?
Right, I work for Rick Gautreaux and Associates Realty, and I'm a realtor for Rick Gautreaux, and my son is a builder for KTB Properties. Marissa, at this point, everything is pretty well blended and started to cook. And like I said before, it doesn't have to cook very long because we're going to bake these heads and cook them again in the gravy. At this point, we're going to add the green onions that Kevin has already chopped for us, and some parsley. We're going to mix that all together, and then we're going to add breadcrumbs to make it to a consistency that holds together so that we can stuff the heads. These heads are a little bit on the small size, but when we save crawfish heads, it can even be from bald crawfish. We usually try to get the bigger heads because it takes less time to stuff them. And of course, the smaller they are, the more heads that you stuff and the more time it takes. So what we do is we just fill these heads up completely, and we try to keep them clean enough so that when we bake them, we're not going to have any meat burning on top of them. We did these ahead of time yesterday because it would take definitely take too long to do it on the show. We stuffed at least 300 of them yesterday.
Now, what is our next step?
This is a dark brown roux, and we start with equal amounts of flour and oil, and we cook that at a medium setting until we get a dark brown roux, and that is the basis for Cajun stew.
Now, this is about, what, a cup of flour and a cup of oil?
Sure,
together?
because we're making this now for about 2 pounds of ground crawfish meat. We're not making it on a large scale, so if you made more, you would make a bigger roux, of course.
And just the ratio is 1 to 1. Just
Exactly.
Right. And once we have our roux nice and browned, and we add our seasoning, which was chopped, not ground, and Kevin was nice enough to chop
care
all
of that
up
for you.
us.
Now, what all do we have in that bowl?
That's what they call the Trinity, which consists of onions, bell peppers, and celery.
Now, are we going to put any garlic in this too? Or?
Yes, we are.
Yes, the garlic doesn't go in as soon as these 3 things go in. What we want to do is mix that well and get that started in the roux itself. And what that does is start to cook down, and while that's cooking, Kevin is going to get us some hot water.
There you go.
And you want to add enough water so that you can cook this for maybe 45 minutes before you add your crawfish, because your seafood doesn't take very long to cook. More water.
Now, see, that's kind of the thing with the crawfish bisque, is it's very time consuming. We've already made the crawfish mixture, had to stuff all those little heads, bake those in the oven, and then you got to make a roux, which a dark chocolate brown roux will take at least 30 minutes to make. Now, this is going to take another 45 minutes to cook down. Then we put the crawfish and herbs and stuff, so that's why a crawfish bisque takes a long time, but it's really worth it.
It is, Marissa. It really tastes wonderful, and it's something that everybody should experience.
And if you're interested in this recipe, we'll have it on our website at www.theoutdoorkitchenshow.com. We'll show you step by step how to make a traditional crawfish bisque. Miss Betty, we've been letting this mixture cook down for about 45 minutes. What's our next step?
The next step is to add the ground up crawfish meat, and in this case, for this recipe for the show, we have 2 pounds here. And we're just going to put that into the stew, and like most Cajuns do, we're going to go ahead and season this right in the pot.
Season it well with Cajun seasoning.
And we're going to stir that together. And that doesn't have to cook very long either, because seafood doesn't take very long to cook. And once that's cooked for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to add our green onions. And we're going to let that cook until we have, as you can see, it's a nice thick crawfish stew with our nice ground up crawfish. In some cases, some people use half ground and half whole tails, but we just decided to grind it all up, and we have a nice rich thick gravy here.
And Miss Betty, this needs to cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes, you said, just to let it get thickened up a little bit?
Correct.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll show you how to plate up this traditional crawfish bisque. Stay tuned. You're watching the Outdoor Kitchen Show.
When a recipe tells you to ask your butcher for help, who do you trust? Ralph's Market. They have the highest quality meats and trained butchers on staff that can custom cut at no extra charge. Or try their ready-to-cook stuffed chicken and chops, or their take-home hot deli plates. Whether it's gourmet or everyday, come to Ralph's Market at Gonzales, Jones Creek, or Pelican Point, the market you trust for the best quality, selection, and local friendly service.
Get on the Bugman's Plan.
Rest easy in a pest-free environment.
Call 923-BUGS.
Follow my plan. Call the Bug Man.
Follow the Bugman's Plan. Call 923-BUGS.
The Louisiana Wildlife Federation is the oldest nonprofit conservation group in Louisiana. Formed by sportsmen in 1940 to protect your right to access and enjoy healthy fisheries and wildlife habitats statewide, LWF represents the voice of Louisiana's outdoors, both in the field and at the Capitol. LWF also supports the Vanishing Paradise campaign that advocates for critical restoration in the Delta and on the coast. Speak up for our state. Become an LWF member today.
Do you have dental insurance? If not, no problem. Here at Absolute Quality Care Family Dentistry, we are excited to offer you our exclusive dental membership plan. By purchasing our plan, you will receive preventive dental services free of charge and other dental services at a greatly reduced price. Our plan was designed for patients, new and existing, that do not have dental insurance, giving you the opportunity to receive same-day treatment. Our dental membership plan is the best option for saving you and your family money. So call us today for more information and begin saving.
Today on the Outdoor Kitchen Show, we're bringing you back some of our favorite recipes. This is a traditional crawfish bisque made by Miss Betty Grenier and Kevin Boudreau.
And now we're going to add our parsley. And once we have the parsley in, it's time to add our crawfish heads. And Kevin's going to do that for us.
I will help you with this.
Now, how many crawfish heads are you going to put in a pot this big?
Well, we're going to put enough so that if when we do a serving of it, we traditionally use like 6 heads per serving, or if we're going to freeze it in quart sizes, we'll use 12 to 15 to 18 heads. And that depends on, how much you've made to begin with. But Kevin, we could use a few more heads in here.
Okay.
And
what was you saying about the heads earlier? You said there's 3 things you can never have too much of. You can't have too much money, too much fun, or
too many heads.
That's right, Marissa. That's the way it goes. And we're going to add a few more.
Because Mama knows?
Dump them all in there, Kevin.
I think so. I think so.
We don't want anything to go to waste.
Oh, no, it won't.
Make sure that these, what we're going to do with this is cook this long enough so that the heads will absorb the gravy and the gravy absorbs the flavor from the stuffing of the heads.
Now, we've already got one made that you actually made yesterday, right? To
Correct.
be in preparation for the show, because you and Kevin were stuffing crawfish and everything else for hours, but that's what makes this recipe so special, right?
That's correct.
And so yummy.
Mm-hmm. So let's dish up a little bit here. And honestly, folks, we've already been tasting this. This is so good. We could not wait. So I already know it's wonderful. But I'm going to take a little bit more if you don't mind, Miss Betty.
Not at all.
Here we go, Kevin. I know you liked it too.
I really enjoyed it.
Tasting time. That's the best part.
Go to our website at theoutdoorkitchenshow.com. Now for Boudreaux's safety tip.
When you're grinding these crawfish, it's of extreme importance not to stick your hand in there. Ah! Did it work?
When we come back, we'll have some more of our most requested holiday recipes, so stay tuned right here to the Outdoor Kitchen Show. We'll be right back. Cajun Catch Seafood Market and Deli in Gonzales has everything from fresh seafood on ice to hot crawfish, crabs, or shrimp right out of the boiler. The deli is open weekdays for lunch. Come try their new daily lunch specials, po' boys, burgers, or crispy, crunchy fried chicken. You know that if you want it boiled, fried, or stewed, come on down to Cajun Catch Seafood on Aurice Roth next to the fire station in Gonzales. Call 225-647-FISH.
When you fire up your pot for a good gumbo, you ought to know the secret of Marie Laveau. She has a seasoning that's a must. Diana, it's magic swamp dust. She sprinkles and she stirs her black iron pot. But you better watch out, 'cause when she uses all she's got, she goes. Another can done gone.
Nothing elevates the beauty and value of a home like natural stone. Ascension Granite Marble offers quality stone for kitchens, baths, and businesses. Mined from exotic global locations, granite has its own personality, marble its own richness, and quartz can be anything you imagine. Ascension Granite is more than a showroom. Choose your slab in the stone yard and it will be carved, polished, and perfected on site. Ascension Granite and Marble in Gonzales, 644-2231 or ascensiongranite.com.
Get on the Bugman's Plan.
Rest easy in a pest-free environment.
Call 923-BUGS.
Follow my plan. Call the Bugman.
Follow the Bugman's Plan. Call 923-BUGS.
The best part about being a member of a Touchstone Energy Cooperative is that it's your Touchstone Energy Cooperative. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Kitchen Show. We are on location at Creative Cajun Cooking with Jenny Babbitt, cooking up all kind of holiday recipes for you. Okay,
Fire
what are we
up.
going to start with?
All right, I got a pan that we're going to do some cornbread in.
Okay.
And I put a chunk of butter in. I'm going to slide it in this oven, kind of melt that butter and preheat the pan before I pour the cornbread into the thing to bake out. So let's get started with that.
Now this is just the standard cornbread recipe that comes on a package of cornmeal. Now he uses eggs, and he uses actually half and half instead of regular milk, and whisks that together. Now we do our dry ingredients. It's the cornmeal and flour. He adds sugar, baking powder, and some swamp dust, of course, and blends his dry ingredients. Then you put your wet and your dry ingredients together and blend them well. He uses a mixer here to make things a little easier. Pour them into a greased pan and bake that cornbread at 400 degrees until it's done.
You know, for the holidays, everybody's all about a dip and a chip and crackers and
All
sit
that good
around
stuff.
and munch on it, you know. So I'm going to show you something quick and easy that we can do here in order to give you that experience on preparing a little dish that everybody can really enjoy. We have some cream cheese.
Okay.
Just kind of let it warm up a little bit so it gets soft. And we're going to put a little bit of sour cream in there with it. That fix it so it maybe don't tear your chip up some.
Okay.
Then we have a little
That's the
gator
magic
pickle
right
juice.
there.
You know, when you get through eating the pickles, you wonder what in the world you're going to do with the juice and all the goodies that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to pour a little of that into it also. Shake it up. Got a bunch of that magic swamp dust and all the goodness up in that.
Ooh,
pour
and
you some of
auxiliary
that.
pickle still in there.
Yeah, I got a pickle. Somebody forgot that.
Oh, I'll dig it out, don't worry.
And then I got this fire department blend. You know, we're going to sprinkle a little of that on top of it. Kind of give it a kick.
And the fire department blend is the spicy version of the magic swamp dust.
That's it. And then we got a mixer. If I do this without slinging it everywhere, and kind of fold this thing over, make sure I didn't leave nothing loose on the bottom or it didn't mix up. Now, there you go. It's of a good dip consistency. And then I have a little dip and chip sort of dish. And put this stuff down in it like that.
I'm gonna hurt myself eating that. That looks good.
I'm not exactly the decorative sort of person, you know. Just old rough welder that happened to learn how to stir a pot. Now, cute little dish everybody can enjoy. And if you want to decorate it up, you can put some little small cherry tomatoes around it and some lettuce leaves or
Or
whatever
extra
you
little
want to
sprinkle
do.
of swamp dust on top, make
Yeah,
it pretty.
look how cutesy. Then you do a cutesy thing with a little dust on the top. There you go.
There you go.
If you get a pinch of it, you might even write your name across the top with the dust. But that was quick and easy and painless.
Absolutely. So, Jimmy, what's the next thing? We got the cornbread made and it's cooled off.
Yeah.
Just toss it in a bowl.
If I could keep the cameraman out of it, you know, he loved eating cornbread.
That's right, that's good
That's
stuff.
it, the good stuff. That's what I'm screaming. Okay, we're going to do a little shrimp dressing, and on another segment here, we're going to do the oyster dressing.
Okay.
But you know, you got South Louisiana, it's a thing of seafood. So you got to have the cornbread, of course, and then you got to saturate that cornbread. And some people, they like it a little darker as a dressing. We're going to bake it in the pan.
Okay.
I've already got the pan with some butter in it, melted in the oven. So we're going to make it a little darker. Hey, I cheat. I'm going to use a little kitchen bouquet. A little bit of water, and I'll pour some of the kitchen bouquet in there. Then we're going to put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. It doesn't take a whole lot. It's a little smidgen. And you know, I like a barbecue sauce. It has a good flavor to it, even though it doesn't taste exactly like barbecue when you're doing it, but it sure enhances a little flavor. Believe it or not, I even use barbecue sauce in my jambalaya. And then I got the seafood boil. I poured some out in this little thing. It doesn't take much, just quarter teaspoons, all I'm putting in there, or should I say a half. Here's all I'm putting in of that. Then I've got a little swamp dust going in. And we're going to mix this up, and this will go into the cornbread once we get through this. We've got the cornbread in the bowl crumbled up, and I'm going to put this in and kind of saturate it. Then we're going to take this little mixture and kind of saturate the cornbread with it. Because the shrimp has got some moisture in it, it doesn't take much extra moisture in order to saturate the cornbread. And all we're going to do is mix it all up until it gets kind of like a mush. All right, I got all the moisture mixed up in here and kind of like a little bit of paste, you know, and that way all the little clumps is saturated and mashed out evenly, so that when you do the dressing, it doesn't have little dry spots in it. And now we're going to pour the shrimp in. I'm just going to leave the shrimp whole, so it's a wonderful mouthful at a time. And we're going to pour those in. And the shrimps has got some moisture in it. But boy, this thing is going to be good when we get through. Holy moly.
You might as well say we're going to have more shrimp than we got dressing.
Hey, if you're going to have a shrimp dressing, you need to have shrimp. I'm all about shrimp. I guess if you were doing this in a restaurant, you'd put about a fourth of that shrimp into it, just for the little flavor. But this is Jimmy Babin cooking at home, and you know Franklin's going to want to eat most of it anyway. Between him and Sean, they're going to dig up into it. All right, now that we've got that mixed, I've got a pan that I put butter in, melted it in. If somebody wants to sit down at the table and eat shrimp, we've got shrimp. I guess you could call this like they do the stuffed shrimp in a pan. And we're going to pop this thing in the oven. I got a convection oven, so it's going to run a little bit different than it does at your house, in a regular house oven. But at 350 degrees, it's going to take me about 30 minutes or so to bake it out.
Thanks for watching us and our favorite holiday recipes today. For any of our recipes, check out our website at theoutdoorkitchenshow.com.